This is the heavy metal rebel Frankie Kazarian and almighty Christopher Daniels, collectively known as The Addiction. We are also world travelers, loved by millions, and we both have rears that makes the girls cheer. You're listening to the Potsy and Tino Show. Keep listening. And you have permission to worship us. Now.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Pots and Pans Network brings to you its tag team champions of the world, the Road Dogg Tino Gray, the badass Rob Potsy Potchak. That's right, the old ass outlaws.
I still got the rear that makes the girls cheer.
I'll say this: you got the stage that makes the girls pay. How about that? But
okay.
Because you don't take requests for free. So
no.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are the Pots and Pan. We are the Pots and Pans Network. We're Potsy and Tino. We're coming at you live like we do each and every week when we can. Does Rob know his screen is black? No.
Oh shit.
Hold on, let me drop me out.
It's not black on mine, in.
I didn't think so. How about now?
Wait, it's still buffering. Hold on. Now you are black.
What?
Now your screen is black. I don't know what's going on there.
All right, let me try it again.
Jayla said it's better now, but now I don't see you.
Like, is it like completely black? Is it like...
J-Lo, you said it's better now. Can you see him? Because on my screen now, I got a black box.
All right, hold on. Look, how about this? Can you see me now?
No.
Yeah. How about if I just do
J-Lo
this?
said he's back to black. Now I'm gone.
And now it's just a black screen?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Now I'm back. Hi. Guess who's back? Back again.
And now?
Hold on, it's buffering. Nope.
I don't know what's going on. All right.
Did you put something over the camera, do you think, by mistake?
No,
because I could see you a minute ago until you did whatever you just did.
Because I can see me. So I don't know what's going on. I
can't see you.
Oh, I forgot it's the NFL draft tonight. Oh, well. You guys can hear me, though, right? Because
yeah.
I really don't care if I can be seen or not.
Who's Tony? There you are. What'd you do?
I didn't do anything. I haven't done anything.
Well, now you're back.
All right. So basically, you guys are saying that my internet connection sucks tonight, and that's fine. Though it does now say that we're broadcasting and we should be good. So we'll just run with it. Our theme song is always brought to you by Adam's House Cat. It's called The Wrestling Song. It's available on iTunes for 99 cents.
Wrestling.
Huh?
Wrestling.
Yeah. Tino's stupid autocorrect. It made you Tony on his.
Yeah. I was like, who's Tony?
So welcome to the audience, folks. Tino, we lost somebody that does actually have ties to pro wrestling just earlier today, didn't we?
Mean Joe Green.
Really? He passed too?
No. Jerry.
Jerry Springer passed away today. So, but I mean, he did have ties with WWE, especially during the Attitude Era. And he was also a guest host at one point.
He was. I forgot about that. I was trying to remember. You're right.
Yeah. And he had wrestlers on multiple times on his show. So I don't think he ever got into the ring and got physical in the WWE rings. Obviously, people got physical on his show all the time. So I don't think we need to do the 10-bell salute, but we do want to go ahead and.
I want to ask you a question, and everybody in the audience too, if you remember, or am I crazy? So you remember when Steve left, right?
Yeah.
And he got the new dude. Am I lying? dude didn't have legs. He was just arms, and he would walk up on the stage. You remember that dude?
Yeah.
Somebody was looking at me like I was crazy. I was trying to say work day. I'm like, no, the new Steve, he didn't have any legs.
Yeah.
So, okay, I thought that was me, and I'm like, I used to smoke shit when I watched that, but I'm pretty sure.
I gotta be honest with you. I never understood how Steve ended up getting his own show.
Because he was Steve. That's all it was. It was off of his fame from the Jerry Springer show.
So was it like Dr. Phil?
Huh?
Dr. Phil, same thing. He was on Oprah so much that they just said, "Hey, you can have your own
Dr.
show."
Phil was actually a doctor and a psychiatrist, so I understand that more than I understand Steve.
I think he's a fucking quack. All he does is insult people and try to make them feel bad about themselves. So
I think my favorite Dr. Phil is "Catch Me Outside." How about that? That shit was awesome.
But I mean, you know, like he took 3 minutes of fame and stretched it out over years. You know, because I mean, people talk to him now. You know, like they're like, and let's bring on Dr. Phil, and then you get, "You, sir, are an idiot." But anyway,
I like that.
but
pretty good.
I digress. We always start the show with a little segment called "What's Up with You," and I let you take prime stage on this one.
I get my little bit of 5 minutes, and then you take the next 25.
The rest of the show, exactly.
So, what was it? Last weekend? Did I play last weekend? I don't even remember. Oh yeah, we did. We did a doubleheader. We played at the we played in Fuquay at the Abbey Road in Fuquay, and then Saturday we played the place in Clayton. That was awesome. We had a good time, and then you know, Sunday did the youth with the youth thing. Spirit night at church with the youth group. That was kind of cool. We did a little service, and they had like outside. We had Gaga Ball, which I don't quite understand what it is, and 9 Square, and then we just grilled out hot dogs, and they were inside playing video games. So just pretty much let them just blow off steam and have a good time. This week, I have a show Saturday in Fuquay at the Mason Jar Brewery, which is going to be awesome. I got a friend of mine coming in from high school. She's going to come in with her husband. Nicole and I are going to go have dinner with them tomorrow night. Then Saturday, they're going to come to the show and check me out because she's never seen a show. And then we have an all-nighter at church for the youth. And then that's going to be good outside and have laser tag. And then they have a movie inside and popcorn and all this other stuff till about midnight. And then that's about it. And then I got a rut next week. I was telling Rob off air, we probably won't do the show Thursday. Well, I got to figure out when we can do the show because my daughter graduates college next Friday. So we're going to have people start coming in probably Wednesday, Thursday, coming in from all over for that. And then we're going to have a party Saturday, Rob. Did you get the Facebook thing? I think Nicole sent it to you.
I won't be able to be there. I'll be in Fayetteville.
Yeah. So we're having her graduation party on Saturday. So thank you. So we're going to be doing that. And I got to, because it's raining, so there's a lot of shit I need to do. I need to mow the lawn. I got a power washer. I got to power wash the deck because it's looking rough, but this rain's not letting me do it. It's supposed to rain today. It rains tomorrow.
It's supposed to rain Saturday.
Yeah. So I got next week. Yes, I gotta find time.
Might be taking a day off.
I gotta get it done. So I gotta cut the grass and power wash. Hopefully it won't take that long. I don't think it will, but who knows? And that's about it. So that's what I got coming up in a nutshell. So it's about to be crazy. She interviewed what's today? Thursday. She interviewed Tuesday at a school in Florida, and so she's got a job when she graduates. So when she graduates, we'll be packing it up, and then she's moving down to Florida. So that's about it.
All right,
Rob, make sure you give Tino some DVDs.
Yeah, I'm about to get to that.
Okay, because apparently I missed something.
No, well, I hadn't gotten there yet. So we're gonna.
You would tell me so something that you hadn't told me.
Well, I mean, I haven't really talked to you since the weekend. You know, I sent one text message to you today that said, "Are we doing this remote? Are we doing it live?" Right. So
you texted me Monday.
Oh
talking
yeah,
about
yeah,
Punk's backstage.
because yeah, which we'll obviously talk about when we
Yeah.
talk about Monday Night Raw. But so my week, Friday night, I drove into Fayetteville. I went out. I bought a new cart to make traveling to Comic Cons a little bit easier for me. So now I have one push cart for everything, which would be awesome. Got into Fayetteville pretty early so I could check into the hotel, check into the convention. And then I was like, I really don't feel like going to the concert. And it's nothing to do with like, who they had playing or anything, because I actually wanted to see at least two of the bands. But I was like, I'm too old to do the concert, right? Guess what time I ended up getting done partying on Friday night?
10 o'clock.
Almost in the morning.
Oh, what? What the hell?
Dude, I was up till 5 a.m. on Friday night.
So how did it go from you're too old to go to a concert
So
you stay up at 5 o'clock in the morning?
I've already told you that I've got a convention wife, right? So she was like, hey, we didn't get to hang out last show, so we got to hang out. I want to sing karaoke. Where does karaoke? And I was like, well, I still have a voice because it's the beginning of the show. It's not the end of the show. So, okay, we could go do karaoke. So we found a place literally 5 minutes from the hotel we're staying at.
And where was this again? Fayetteville?
Yeah.
Okay.
A little place called the White Rabbit, which I thought was a very eccentric bar when I first walked in, but then it became very mixed clientele of everything. So it was a pretty interesting place. So we did that, and her daughter was driving, so it was like we could just start drinking, right? So we got done with that, and as I walked back into the hotel, my buddy who runs the gaming stations at the convention basically saw me walk in and goes, Rob, let's have a drink. And I'm like, all right, come up to my room. I got 2 bottles of bourbon and blah 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 whatever. And he's like, okay, good, because I got Foothills beers. So he had Sexual Chocolate, he had Hopium, he had like all their top line beers. The new Sexual Chocolate's excellent. I had 14 of them this weekend. Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, okay, like you hear me joke about how you're the rock star, but I party like one.
No, I still party like one.
Not like that.
Done in a while.
Not like that. This would be like 3 times your Christmas party, okay? So I'm at the hotel, and I don't remember what time I actually went to bed. I just know that it was super late because the convention started at 10, and I woke up at 10:15. Yeah. Now I must have stopped time because it took at least 15 minutes to get from the hotel to the convention center, and yet I still shit and showered before I went to the thing and got there by 10:30. So that was one of the jokes all weekend, is that I somehow stopped time so that I could get to the convention almost on time. But then all day at the show, after the show, it was like, okay, got to the convention, people sit there and drive you from one place to another, whatever. Michael shows up at the show on Saturday, and he goes, I brought you something. And damn it, Tino, he gave me an entire book of wrestling DVDs.
Oh, wow.
And, it's all the ones that still have, like, the licensed music and everything else as part of them. And, I mean, we're talking Best of Raw 2009, Best of Raw 2010. I mean, a full DVD, holding 2 DVDs, 4 to each sleeve, basically. The whole thing's full.
Oh, shit.
So I was like, I hope you don't mind, Michael. I'm probably going to give these to Tino because I know Tino actually goes back and does watch all that stuff when he gets it.
I go back on Peacock and watch all that shit.
So all that was happening. And this Fayetteville Comic Con had a ton of Power Rangers at it. So like you couldn't walk like 10 steps without bumping into a Power Ranger. It felt like
the original, or just people dressed up like Power Rangers.
No. It was actual Power Rangers, but it was from different eras of the TV show. So they had Walter Jones there, the original Black Ranger.
Yes.
I hung out with him a little bit because he remembered me from WonderCon a couple years ago. So it was like, hey, remember me? He's like, yeah, buddy. Like, let's go get a drink. Okay. Well, as soon as someone says, let's go get a drink, I'm walking around going and getting a drink, right? So convention gets over and everybody's like, what's going on? Because normally Saturday night, the showrunner actually does a after party, but it's for invited guests only, right? Well, I think it's because of how many guests he had at the show. He wasn't doing that this year because we all basically gathered in the common area at the hotel. And we were sitting there talking to the girls that worked at the hotel. We're like, hey, what time are you guys getting off so you can come hang out with us and everything? So before you know it, we have like 40 people in like where like the breakfast area is at the hotel. So I mean, it's slam packed, and then there's an outdoor area with another couple tables and chairs and everything. Those are slam packed, and so of course I literally, there's a liquor store across the street, so I bought 2 bottles of bourbon, put them on the table. Didn't put the expensive one down because I was like, no, you guys get the cheap bourbon, and was up until 4:30 in the morning again, and this one was because I sat down and I'm sitting there at the table, and this young lady comes up and says, what are you doing? And I had gone up to the front counter, asked for paper and asked for pens, and I was just doodling, and she's like, I like to draw. And I'm like, well, go ahead and have a seat. So she sat down and started drawing too. And she was like, how do you draw Rorschach? Because she wanted to draw Rorschach from Watchmen. And I'm like, he's pretty easy. He's literally ink blots on a white mask. Like you could put the white blots anywhere you want. She's like, you can? And I'm like, yeah, the whole idea was that the ink just kept moving around his face, So we hung out for a while, but here's where the story gets funny. And I don't know if I should actually say this on the air, but the next day I got up and I could swear that she told me she had a table at the show. So I was like, I'm going to go find her table so that I could sit there, give her my business card, whatever, and she contact me, whatever the deal is, right? So I walk around every table in the damn place, Tino, and can't find her. So I'm like, did I imagine this person?
No, you're probably drunk, yeah.
Well, so I literally started thinking I was imagining her until a tattoo artist that sat down and sat with us for like 2 hours ended up coming up to my table and went, Potsy, where's that girl you were talking to? And I'm like, oh my God, thank you, Grim. I thought I made her up. And he goes, no, I thought I was imagining her. And I'm like, there's no way both of us thought we were imagining this girl. But that's what he said to me. So I was like, I'm just glad to know that she exists. But now I'm sitting there going, man, I thought she had a table here. She doesn't seem to have a table. And I'm still networking, talking to all these other people at the show and whatever on Sunday at this point. And I'm finally like, all right, I'm going to go sit at my table. I'm going to go try to make some money. I'm going to try to do this, try to do that, whatever. And like with 30 minutes to go before the show ended, she came up and started talking to me again. And I'm like, and you know what the first thing she said to me was? Because I hadn't been at my table like all day, right? You know, the first thing she said to me was,
where you been?
I've walked around your table 3 times looking for you. And I was like, I was looking for you. But anyway.
Did she have a table?
No, she said, no, I didn't have a table. I was thinking about getting a table at the next one. I was, oh, okay. And then I told her, if you really, if you don't want to pay for your table, you can sit at my table and draw and then just help me sell comics because I'm never at my table. Like you'll have a whole table space to sit there and draw. And it's not that I'm never at my table. I'm there probably about half the time, but it's because I'm networking and trying to look at new people's stuff and try to give them advice on what they need to do to get their books out there and whatever. So, but yeah, so that was pretty funny. And then I lost my voice by the end of the show, like I always do. So I didn't do karaoke on Monday night. But this week I don't really have anything going on, right? I think I've got a high stakes poker game on Saturday night, so I'm going to do that. What's that?
A high stakes poker game.
Mm-hmm.
Where's that?
Can't really talk about that because like Like they might be, monitoring this. Uh, but yeah, a poker game that I go to every so often now. I started playing again, which is kind of nice. But next weekend, Tino heard me start talking about this off the air. He said that he doesn't think he can do Thursday, so I'm trying to talk him into Tuesday next week for it because I don't think I got anything going on Tuesday. But Thursday actually not being on the show works for me because that means I can go see Guardians of the Galaxy. But Friday I am going to see something 3 years in the making, Tino.
Yeah, explain this to me.
The North Carolina Symphony is doing Star Wars night, and they were supposed to do it 3 years ago, right before the pandemic, and it was supposed to be May 4th last time. May the 4th be with you, Star Wars, right? And they postponed it. They finally said they're doing it this year. So they basically let everybody who already had tickets still be able to get into it. And we're doing it because my nephew Drew, when he went to his first symphony orchestra thing, he was like, this is really cool, but I kind of want one that like I'll know the music from. So my sister was like, oh, well, they got Star Wars coming up, and he's like, yeah, can we do that? So of course we were all like, yeah, well, we'll all get tickets and whatever and go to that one. And then Saturday, of course, free comic book day. I will be at the Dragon's Lair in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I will be there probably doing sketches, selling some comics, doing that whole thing, sitting at my table a lot more often than I do at the convention. And I typically do pretty cheap sketches. I normally do them for like $25 or whatever. So I mean, like anybody that wants to come out and get a sketch for like $25 is more than welcome to. So that's what I've got through like the first weekend of May. I'll tell you though, and I know we want to get into wrestling, so we're going to do that right here in a minute. But this show wiped me the fuck out, man. Like by the time I got home, the con crud hit on Monday morning, which meant I didn't have a voice. It meant like I felt like crap all day. You get to a show like this, and have you ever gone to a Comic-Con?
Mm-hmm.
You have?
A long time ago.
Okay. So they're not too much different than the way they used to be. It's kind of like a theme park where you wait in line for 2 hours and then nothing happens kind of thing. Yeah. So it's kind of like that. But like you get to it and you're like, you start seeing all your friends. And like I'm 45. You start thinking you're like 20 years old again, and it's like, oh, we're gonna party all weekend. And then all of a sudden the weekend's over and you're recovering for like 4 days. Like it's Thursday, I'm recovering still, like I still don't have my full voice. Joe just said, Michael, I've got one in New Jersey in June and going to and Joe's actually going to be here in Raleigh for GalaxyCon, if I remember correctly.
When is that again?
That is the last weekend of July, but it's like 4 days. It's like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's a big convention. Like William Shatner's going to be there. I don't know who else is going to be there. A lot of wrestlers. Mick Foley's going to be there this time. I remember in that. So, Potsy and Tino from Michael, that would be awesome. But if I go to GalaxyCon, I am literally going as a spectator. I am not going to it as a vendor. I didn't make any money the one time I did go, so I was like, I'm not doing this show again. Now they could invite me, give me a free table, and then maybe I'll go. But yeah, I'm not.
Is GalaxyCon that's here?
Yeah, that's in Raleigh. It's literally the week after San Diego Comic-Con. So not only am I already exhausted from San Diego, then all of a sudden you got a big 4-day convention here. So
are you going to San Diego? I thought that was still up in there. You weren't sure if you're going to go or not.
It's up in the air, but there is a good possibility that cast members from Grubs are going to be on the panel. So I kind of want to be the host of that panel this year. And I don't think I can be hosting remotely. so I really do want to be at it, but it's going to be tough to fund. There's some things going on with the day job that make my decision. It's going to be a closer to game time decision. So, but I did solidify some other shows. Like I've got some big news about Carolina Fear Fest that I am excited about, and I can't divulge yet because they haven't announced it yet. But let's just say I'm going to be on a couple panels. I'm going to be moderating at least one panel. The one that I'm moderating, anybody who's seen me moderate these panels, I moderated one with Rob Mello from Happy Death Day the first year that they did the show, and that one was awesome because him and I looked like we were best friends. And we hung out the rest of the show, so that we really were best friends after that. But then the next year so this past year I did the one that had Deputy Doofy from Scary Movie, and that that one was a lot more fun than I expected it to be. He was super serious about talking about the stuff. So, but this year, the one I'm moderating, I am stoked because let's just say I was a big fan of what it was. So me being the moderator for the panel is a pretty damn cool thing.
Well, I want to know what it is now.
Well, we could talk about it off air. And Joe, I'll, if you message me, Michael, you guys message me off air, I can always let you know what it is. But it's probably one of the biggest panels they're going to do in that weekend. So I'm pretty excited. I just found out that Tara Reid's going to be at that show. So, that's one of those young ladies that I had a huge crush on back in the day with like American Pie and
she was just in a movie or something I just watched the other night. I don't remember what it was now.
I just watched the episodes with Scrubs with her in it. So, but she's going to be there. Two of the main three actors from Ash vs. Evil Dead are going to be there, and that's pretty cool because I was a huge fan of that show. That might have been a hint, but so.
Oh, The Big Lebowski. I'd never seen The Big Lebowski, so I watched it. That's what it was.
Yeah, and so that show's coming up. I've got another show in Wilmington because somebody actually asked if I wanted to do a show in Wilmington, and I was like, tell me the details. Tell me what table, hotel, what the deal is. Give me
the deets.
What's that?
Give me the deets.
Give me the deets. Yeah. So that one is June 10th. It's called Port City Comic-Con. I'll be at that one. That one's got a lot of people from like Naked and Afraid as like the guests of it, which I don't know. I've never watched the show.
What? That show's awesome.
The week
I wouldn't do it, but it's awesome.
So this is one of the things I don't like to do. I don't like to do like show after show after show. I like to take a week off in between shows, right? Because you got to recover, and like I said, I'm old, I'm fat, like I got to recover. So the week after that is another 3-day show. So that one's a 1-day show on June 10th, but then June 16th, 17th, and 18th, I'll be in Charlotte for Heroes Con, and
I'll be in Disney.
We got 3 tables for that show. So we're gonna have a big spread at that one. And then I don't have anything else until San Diego if I decide to go. So if something else comes up, Oh, I forgot to say, the same weekend of Carolina Fear Fest, I'm also doing a live Twitch stream for Animazement. So I will be live with Animazement on Saturday morning, and then hop over to Carolina Fear Fest to do panels and sell stuff. And I'll have a table at Carolina Fear Fest. So, but Animazement, I'll literally be starting the day there. People can have their coffee while I'm doing a live Twitch stream, and then head on out to the other show. So it's kind of cool that they actually both agreed to let me do both, because normally it's like, no, you got to commit to one or the other. And they said, no, it's cool. You can be on both. So doing both of those. So I'm pretty excited about that.
That's awesome.
And Tino, this weekend I did a 45-second Zor spot for another YouTube channel called The Brothers Boyd. So if you take a look at that, there was a quick little 45-second snippet of me talking about Zor. Pretty much the way that I describe it now, I've already told everybody it's like Pixar meets Wizard of Oz. tagline for it is sometimes the grandest stories can happen on the tiniest of stages. So there you go with that. Rob's screen froze, and now he looks asleep. Well, I'm probably about to fall asleep. So let's hope that's not the case, Joe. All right. You know what's next. Where you want to start?
I mean, what did we? So last week,
Friday Night SmackDown.
is that where we start? Yeah, probably. And to be honest with you, by the time I got in from my show Friday night, I was like, this. So,
well, I got to be honest. I did not get to see SmackDown because I was in Fayetteville. So, and I was out till all hours of the morning on Saturday. All I know is that they're continuing the Bloodline story. I want to ask, obviously it's tomorrow night that the big match happens between Kevin and Sammy, where they're trying to sneak in dissension between them at this point again, and the Usos. And it's obviously also the first night of the draft.
I want to catch something, and I want to see if you. I think that they are gonna probably bust down the Bloodline. I don't know if it was. God, was it this past Friday on SmackDown or the Friday before, where the Usos are in the ring, and Heyman is kind of like behind them, and so is Solo, and he's like, and he was talking about the Sammy problem and the Kevin problem, and he goes, and the tribal chief is getting very tired of you two. But he's kind of looking at the Usos, and the Usos are like, yeah, thinking he's talking about the with Sammy and Kevin. So I'm wondering if they lose tomorrow, what happens? Does he kick him out of the Bloodline?
I wish that at this point we would have gotten what the drafting method is going to be. Because, in years past, it would be Raw's 3 hours, so they get 3 picks versus SmackDown's 2 picks per round or whatever. And more recently, they've done only certain people are available on night 1, only certain people are available on night 2, and then they do 2 first-round drafts and all that kind of stuff. So I'd really like to be interested. I'd really be interested to see how that all plays out.
Also,
go ahead.
It's because it's got to do with Raw. That makes me wonder about the effect this Friday on SmackDown.
Well, think about it. It's a Raw tag team and a SmackDown tag team going.
No, that's not even what I'm talking about. That's not even what I'm talking about.
Okay, go ahead.
Fuck it. We'll get to it. Triple H introduced the new belt, right? And before he unveiled it, he said that Roman would keep the Universal belt and would defend it on whichever program he gets drafted to.
Right.
And then the new belt will be defended on the other one. So my question is, and we've talked about this, with Fox wanting all the star power, wanting Roman, do we think that they're going to move Reigns to Raw and put that other championship on SmackDown?
My honest opinion here is that no.
I think so.
I think the Fox contract gives them the overall edge on which side Roman Reigns is going to go. Now, I like your they might split up the Bloodline, but I don't think so. Because one, I do think the tag team championships are going to stay as a unified tag team, and they're going to bounce between the 2 shows. I think that until the tag team loses the belts, they defend on both shows. But then when they lose, they go back to their home brand.
Okay,
that's.
Hold on 1 second. I'm going to answer Michael's question. He said, "Why the new belt? I don't get the now 3 belts. It's not 3 belts, Michael. So what they're doing is Roman has the blue belt, which is the SmackDown belt. The other belt that he's carrying, the WWE Championship, that's the one that's going away and it's getting replaced by this new belt that Triple H has introduced.
Well,
they're going to unify those 2 belts that Roman has.
Yeah,
there's only going to be 2 belts, Michael.
So Roman's 2 belts are getting combined.
Okay,
but and he even called it the Unified Universal Champion.
Yeah, because this one is the WWE World Heavyweight.
World Heavyweight Championship. And
but to answer Michael's question, it's only 2 belts still.
Yeah. There's going to be one on Raw, one on SmackDown.
Yeah.
That's going to be the way it is going forward.
Yeah.
Which is the way it should be. But the fact that Roman never lost one of them kind of irritates me.
Now, since they're combining, is he still going to walk around with 2 belts? I guess is my question, which is a good point. I didn't think about the Michael. Even though they're combining, are they going to make a new belt for Roman too?
I think that gets announced at the beginning of SmackDown tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think that the tag team championships will continue to be separated, and whoever's the tag team champion after tomorrow night will have to defend on both until they lose one on one of the shows.
So you don't think they're going to separate why don't you think they'll separate the tag straps?
There's not enough tag teams. And it allows for a little bit of the brand split, dissension kind of thing, whatever. But I mean, let's be real. If the Usos have them, we're watching them on both shows.
Well, I'm saying, okay, let me put it this way. Why don't they, unify the belts and let those guys still go back and forth? I just don't like the carrying around a blue belt and a red belt. Why don't they, you know what I'm saying? Why don't they unify?
Because I'm okay with all of a sudden if Kevin and Sammy have both sets of belts, but let's say both get drafted to Raw, they have to hold on to the SmackDown titles and defend them on SmackDown too until they lose them. As soon as they lose them, they are no longer, they'll get the rematch or whatever, but they'll then no longer be allowed on SmackDown.
But that's what I was asking. Why won't they just let the red belts go to Raw and the blue belts go to SmackDown? And you said no, you want to have them defend on both shows, so unify the belts.
But right now they have both sets of belts.
That's what I'm saying. I'm asking.
Okay, so hold on. Let me try to explain so that way you have we both understand. So right now, Kevin and Sammy, let's say they're drafted to Raw. They are still currently the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, right?
Okay.
So you can do one of two things. We can either unify them to where the Tag Team Champions of one show can continue to go between, which is or they can continue to defend on both shows until they lose the SmackDown titles. And then they're split again, right?
And that's what that was my question. Either split it, and you said no because there's not enough tag teams.
Well,
right?
that would be my preferred
or unify them
to show new belts and everything else. But it's very possible that they actually do the whole thing where they say, hey, the tag team championship match here is going to end up if this team that got drafted to SmackDown wins, they get to keep the SmackDown belts, and if Kevin and Sammy are drafted to Raw, they keep the Raw belts on Raw. Yeah. I could see them actually saying that that's a stipulation for tomorrow night specifically.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually I still like the idea of unifying them, having one set of straps, so that way, the team stays going between brands until they finally lose to one brand or the other, and then they have to go back to their brand.
Yeah. Also, a big rumor, and we're talking about the draft tomorrow night on SmackDown, that they're saying that they're not only going to bring up some people from NXT, probably drop some people down in NXT, but they might be bringing a couple of people in. And one of the names they're talking about bringing back is Big E. Now, while he's probably not ready to wrestle yet, until he's, what I'm saying, because they were saying that the everything in his spine is healing fibrosely, I guess that's the word, instead of calcium. So it's still fusing. Well, he probably won't be able to take bumps, but he can probably still come out with New Day, maybe acting as a manager.
I mean, it's all up
kind of role
to do. Right now, they've put him in a good role of actually sourcing talent. For the NIL thing that they do, he's going to colleges right now all across the country.
I'm talking about if they bring him back, because they're talking about bringing him back as as an on-air talent with New Day. So I can see him maybe coming down with New Day.
Sure.
Yeah, which would be good.
And not taking bumps, but maybe delivering bumps from time to time.
Yes. Until he's absolutely clear.
because he obviously like there's been videos of him dancing now, so he might
And
not be able to take a bump.
Yeah, they said that he said, I was reading an interview with him. He said since when he was out and like he's been still going to the gym. It's not affecting him working out. They just don't want him
Bumping
taking
around.
bumps. Yeah,
Yeah.
so he's been in the gym since this whole time.
Yeah, I
So
think
it'd be cool to see him back.
So, but so you mentioned that you think that the bloodline gets split up. I think the bloodline actually all stays on the same program because I think that they realize what they're doing with them. It could amount to a Roman and Solo versus the Usos feud, which would still be fire, you know. At the same time, I think like let's say SmackDown gets to pick two guys, you know, like let's say the number one draft pick overall, Roman Reigns, right? It's got to be.
Mm.
So as long as that's the first, you know, as long as he's available for the first round on SmackDown, Roman Reigns number one draft pick. I see Seth Rollins being number one on Raw.
Rumor is he's the one right now, heavy favorite to win that title.
You mean Cody?
They're saying Seth.
Oh yeah.
Seth. They're gonna keep Cody away from it a while. You know, we all know Cody's going to get it, but he's not going to get it right up front. Right now, they're looking at Seth, and believe it or not, they were also talking about Austin Theory, because if you saw it Monday, the only two people who really looked down or made eye contact or said anything about the belt was Seth and Theory.
Well, and remember, Cody doesn't want that belt. His dad held that belt. Well, nobody held that belt because it's a brand new World Heavyweight Championship.
No, that's the belt he wanted because his dad never held it.
No, his dad never held the WWF Championship, which is the WWE Universal title. Now,
which is not the blue one, the other one, which is the one that the big.
When they put the blue and the red belt together, it'll be that belt.
Yeah, but that belt that they just unveiled looks more like the Winged Eagle belt, which Cody is really wanting. It looks more like the Winged Eagle belt than anything I've seen in a while.
If you really look at that belt, it looks like the old WCW big championship belt, but then it's got a big WWE logo right in the center of it.
Yeah.
Like even got like the weird, like it almost looks framed even similar to the AEW championship, the way that it kind of like feathers. Like you're saying the Winged Eagle, but it definitely, I mean it, and it even says World Heavyweight on it, like the old WCW belt did. And that's what it really looks like. But like I said, it literally looks like someone took platinum and just shoved a giant platinum WWE logo right on the front of it. So what did you think of it?
You know what it reminded me of, honestly? The old women's belt, the one that Alondra Reyes threw in the trash can. Is it the same size? You close your eyes, you're trying to laugh because you know it. It looks like the old WWF Women's Championship belt.
I am not closing my eyes, so I just think I'm just leaning back. So that's why you can't. That's why everyone keeps saying my eyes look closed. Because when I lean back like this, like my eyes are still the same open. They're just
that's what I thought when I first saw it. I'm like, that looks like a women's title because it's so small. It doesn't.
That's funny.
What'd you think?
It's not small. It's not. I mean,
I guess because for years we've been looking at those fucking big belts that Roman's carrying around. So compared to the one he's carrying around, that thing does look small. It looks smaller than the Intercontinental title.
Well, it's not, and it's because it was leaning. It's the way it was angled on the table. It's going to be a big sized belt. I can almost guarantee it. Like it's going to be, you know, a big belt. Probably weighs about 30 pounds too. Because this weekend, every time I saw somebody walking around with a championship belt on, I told them they had to defend it. This one guy turned around and he goes, "You really want to try it?" And I'm like, "No." He's like, because I'll let you, Bo. And I'm like, No, that's all right. But then he gave me his business card because he makes custom belts.
Cool.
So yeah. But what I was
We need
getting,
a Potsy and
I
Tino
think
belt.
the number 2 pick for SmackDown is going to be Cody.
Did you hear me?
No.
We need a Potsy and Tino belt. I'll go in half for that.
I think we need tag team champion belts.
Okay.
Because I mean, we always call ourselves the tag team champions of the world.
Okay.
So
so you said number 2, you think it's going to be Cody
on SmackDown.
You think Cody's going to SmackDown?
I do. Because Cody's going to want to go after Roman's belt.
I still say he's not. I still say he's staying on Raw and he's going after that new one.
So there's a lot of rumors that say that he is, but that's never been the belt that he wanted. And when you think about Cody, like that Winged Eagle belt is the one he wants, and the closest thing to it, because the one with all that history and everything is the one that Roman has right now. And let's be honest, the other half of it is finish the story. The story isn't with a new championship belt. The story is with Roman now. Like, he didn't finish that story.
I think getting the championship was finishing the story. I don't necessarily think it's Roman. I think it's getting that championship.
Well, if they decide to say that the history of this championship belt is like the WCW history, where Booker T was a 5-time champion of this specific belt, Mark Henry 2-time champion with this specific belt, it's not the belt that he wants, and it won't be. So until he actually goes after the other belt,
well, we don't know what they're going to say the history of this belt is yet.
Now
I'm thinking they're not. They're going to say that that's the WWE belt. That's what I'm thinking they're going to say, because I don't see Cody.
Well,
I don't see Cody, because as much as we agree that SmackDown right now is the better show in Vince's eyes and everybody else's eyes, Raw is that flagship show. They're going to want to keep Cody on that flagship show. They would bring Roman over, but they know Smack will have Smack. They'll know that Fox would have a fucking fit.
Well, so Fox wants star talent, right? But they also want somebody that's on TV every week. So don't be surprised if all of a sudden Seth Rollins gets drafted number 1 by, like let's say Raw gets the number 1 pick and they make the biggest boom of all time by going, we want Roman Reigns, right? And then all of a sudden, like, SmackDown immediately goes, well, fine, we want Seth Rollins. Because Seth wants to be on TV every week.
But they also try not to, they would have to move Becky, because you look at it, they try to keep couples together. So that means Becky would have
to agree, and that's fine. But it's, the way I expect it is this. Let's say Roman gets drafted to Raw, night 1, number 1 pick. Okay. Biggest wow, boom in draft history, right? Seth gets drafted number 1 to SmackDown. Boom! What a major shift! All of a sudden, you have the architect on one show. You've got the head of the table on the other show, and they go, Cody's not on the draft board until Monday night, and then Cody's the number 1 pick night 2 for Monday Night Raw as well. And that just makes I could just picture how, like, Corey Graves explodes off of that. Other than that, like I said, I do think the bloodline stays together. So no matter, and I think it's all of them that stay together. I know that tag teams are possible to be split up, but that's why I think you're going to get the 2 picks per round.
Then that makes me think that the Judgment Day will go, if they're going to bring the bloodline to Smack out to Raw, then that makes me think Judgment Day will probably go to SmackDown.
Sure. Yeah. I think you're going to see a lot of flip-flops that you wouldn't normally see, but Triple H did say it's going to be the biggest draft in history. And
so who, because we all know that main roster people are going to NXT. So who do they send to NXT?
I think you'll see people like Natalya go back down to NXT because she'll be the goat down there, or the boat, or whatever she calls herself, the best of all time. I think. I don't think you're going to see a lot of people go down to NXT, but I do think it's going to be like quiet transfers down. because you're gonna get some boons that come up, right? But like, I mean, Grayson Waller just lost again, or yeah, he lost again this week at the spring breaker. So I think he might get called up.
I'll be all right with that.
I think Chase might get called up because his group would be a good fit on a Monday Night Raw for low mid card. Even though we hear how much they get cheered at NXT shows, I mean, we were sitting there doing the Chase U chant. So, honestly though, I don't know many of them that are ready to come up. Carmelo is, Braun Breaker, maybe.
I think the Creed brothers are ready to come up.
You know what? Out of the tag, I do think that the Creed brothers, Pretty Deadly, is probably ready to come up, and they did just lose to D'Angelo and
I like the Don. I like Tony D'Angelo.
Yeah, but they just won, so
Yeah.
I have a feeling like Pretty Deadly could get called up. The other thing that I don't think a lot of people are expecting, like right now, everybody says that Cody and Seth are the two number one guys to win that new belt. But what about Gunter?
I still want to see Gunter, and Roman.
Well, yeah, but I think that if you hold that off for like another year and then have the draft and have him all of a sudden stare Roman in the face, you were just looking at a monster feud if you keep them apart long enough, I didn't even think about it, but Brock Lesnar could be the number one pick to SmackDown. Or if Roman goes number one, then I could see Brock going number one. But I could also see Brock going number one opposite of Cody. That way they get their match, but they don't get to touch hands after that,
See Brock go down and work NXT.
It wouldn't even be the only thing that works in Brock's favor is that Brock would be able to get he'd force them to buy him a house in Tampa or wherever it is, or Orlando, and he would just be able to drive to the performance center every week. Anyways,
Mike said GG and JC. I don't know.
They still have to finish the feud. So, I mean, they both could get called up, but they obviously hate each other right now. I guess,
Cora Jade she's almost there. I don't think Cora Jade's ready to come up yet. Cora's almost there.
The one thing I will say about the call-ups this time is that I think it'll be the first time in a long while where they come up and they still have the same gimmicks. Like 100% they come in with their gimmick, because you saw a bunch of these NXT guys all of a sudden come up to the main roster, and suddenly there were gimmick changes, like heck, Imperium got put back together because Triple H knows that it works.
Change their music.
What's that?
Change their music.
Yeah, I mean, they changed a lot of the music. They changed Johnny Gargano's music, but Johnny's still the same character he was.
His music's still pretty much the same. I think they updated it. It's still the
still the same song, but it's a different band singing it now, and I don't like it as much. Mm. His old music had a really good ring to it. And now
when Ciampa comes back, I hope they let him bring back his old NXT music. Just that was fucking awesome. That music was the best. That
was good music. Yeah, I agree with that. Heck, I could see people like Gargano and Ciampa going back down to NXT.
That could be.
So let's go ahead and talk about Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, we've been hitting on it.
Apparently a lot of talk about backstage, Vince McMahon rewriting the show late in the day.
And a lot of it was with the women.
Yeah, now that's what I wanted to talk to you about. What do you think of that?
I don't agree with it. I mean, these women worked hard. I mean, he's got some kick-ass women on there, and I don't agree with it. I think they were on pace, man. They were. I mean, I can't even put it into words. I don't. It's bullshit. That's all I can say.
You know what I think it is? Because if you notice, some of the longest and most run spots throughout it were Bloodline, Sammy Kevin related, right? Leading up to the match on Friday. Cody, Seth,
Damien and Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny closing the show. Damian Priest in the main event slot. So when you think about it, when you look at all that stuff, I think they were really trying to get a ratings bump. And unfortunately, the women's storylines in WWE right now are lacking. Like we talked about that all the way through WrestleMania.
Yeah. No, I think it was getting, especially after Raw. I think up the Raw he's working. He just had a whole bunch. I think Triple H had a whole lot of plates in the air going into WrestleMania, especially with the Sami Zayn and the Kevin Owens and the Bloodline. And I think that he did drop the ball on the women.
I agree. Although I do think that probably started because when Vince came back, he started really pushing certain storylines and certain angles. Brock versus Omos. I mean, that's got Vince written all over it, right? What about that new guy in NXT they showed this week? Like, I have a feeling him and Omos are going to be a tag team before too long.
The dude that was throwing
Tino
furniture. I know you're talking about, yeah.
That dude was nasty, and like the one complaint people had about him was they said that his like demeanor on his face wasn't right. Like he wasn't really set up like prime time yet. So he's gonna have a little while in NXT, but I'm gonna be interested to see when they put him up against Dabba-Kato or something. Like they're gonna have to reinforce that ring.
Him or Odyssey. Against Odyssey.
What did you think of the dynamic between Riddle, Kevin Owens, and Sammy this week, where Kevin got so mad at Sammy for going and talking to Jay, and then Jimmy came and talked to him, and then when Matt Riddle was like, bro, and he just looked at him and said, no.
No, my favorite, before that, because that was comedy gold. Before that, when Dave's Pan and Riddle's just sitting there talking to Kevin, he's like this, and Sammy comes in and goes, where you been? All night. Where you been? I popped so hard. Kevin Owens is fucking hilarious. He is comedy gold.
I mean, they both are,
Yes.
but the whole Jimmy Uso, I think, came out as the biggest star in that moment, though. Because when he said, I think you got to stop looking at my brother and start looking at yours. Because he's not wrong. If Sammy eats that pin and those guys lose those tag team titles on Friday night,
Kevin's gonna stun the shit out of him with a pop-up power bomb.
Or he might hit he might hit him with the Steenalizer. You ever see that move?
No.
It's like, so it starts out as what Samoa Joe does off the top rope, but then he throws you into the corner.
Oh shit!
I saw one of those like 8-second TikToks where it's like as many Steenalizers as they can put in that time.
I wanted to bring back the package pile driver. That shit was nasty.
That the only way that's happening is if he ever signs with AEW, because WWE ain't gonna allow it.
Mm-mm. That's actually my favorite move when he was in ROH. That package pile driver.
Yeah, but we were all waiting for him to break someone's neck,
and he never did though.
No.
He's like the Undertaker with the tombstone. I mean, he protects people in that move.
You think AJ Styles comes back for the draft?
Oh yeah, he's on his way back.
I mean, he'll get drafted, right?
Yeah, they said that's another one he's coming back because everybody's out with damn injuries. He was out. He's coming back from injury. Orton's still going to be out, so Orton's fucked up. Orton might be.
Yeah, I don't think Orton's on the active roster, so I don't think he gets drafted. I could see Big E getting drafted because obviously they want to do something with him. Though I'd almost keep Big E under wraps and not use him at all until Royal Rumble. You know, if he's able to go, I keep him out until Royal Rumble and have him as a surprise entrant.
Yeah.
Tag teams that can be split up. You think
Apparently you all of them.
split up
You all of them.
if Elias and Boogs? You think they split them up?
Yeah, I don't think that's really going to work. The team that I'm looking that I think they're going to split up that nobody's going to see coming, it's the Prophets.
Yep.
The Prophets. I think they're going to start pushing. I think Montez is going to be. He's going to have a breakout. I think they're going to separate. They're going to get drafted separate, and then they're going to strap a rocket on Montez.
Yeah, and a lot of people have actually said they kind of expect what's his name, the other one,
Dawkins.
Why can I never remember Angelo Dawkins' name? Every time I see him, I think Shad Gaspard. Like, to this day, I still think it. But so with Hawkins, Dawkins. Sorry. With Dawkins, people are saying that they could see him being like a monster heel.
Yeah.
But I almost see him in the new Hurt Business. You know, because they've kind of held that off. But I could see if whatever kind of push they try to give him, a la Devon when they split up the Dudleys, I could kind of see like him getting a push out of it and being part of a stable. Montez, you're right. He's gonna be going after whichever singles belt is at least the mid-level for a while before he gets a shot at like the top ends.
Yeah.
The other tag team that I almost guarantee is getting split up based on my own personal feelings is Alpha Academy. And I see it being Otis gets drafted first, like out of the two, and then Chad's like the last draft pick on the other team. You know, like
I think my favorite part of Raw, I don't know if it was this way. Like I said, I'm getting them all confused. It's when when Corbin was he talking to the Prophets or was he talking to?
He was talking to Boogs he was talking about and no, it was Boogs and Elias. But
the Boogs and Elias, yeah. And then your boy, God, what's his name? Tazawa came up there. He goes, no one likes you. Yes, no one likes you.
Yeah. So those two tag teams, I almost guarantee are getting split up. I don't think any others really are. I mean, Kevin and Sammy, I think you have to put on opposite programs after they lose the belts. So it's just, and I see at least Sammy going to Raw or wherever Roman is. I see Sammy going there, and I see Kevin going to the other one.
And that's why I said the Creed brothers, because they need to, if they're going to break up tag teams, they need to
put tag teams together.
Yeah, they need to put some together. And I don't be surprised if Briggs and Jensen didn't come up.
Well, based on what we saw this week, I don't think they come up as a tag team.
No, did you see the end of the match?
Did they get back together?
What's her name? They lost it. So it was not Fallon, the other chick, the rich girl. She dumped Jensen because they lost the match. And so she's like, no, I never loved you. Da 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 da. And Briggs kind of came up behind him and said, I still got you, bro. And they kind of like hugged it out. Mm-hmm. So I think that was a short-lived storyline. And I think that was on purpose because they might be bringing him up.
Could be right. I think women coming up, you might see Zoe Starks moving up. The only thing she hasn't done is win the title.
Dude, I think if Nikita Lyon would stay healthy, she could come up, but she can't stay healthy.
No, and that's always been like Tegan Knox's problem, right? So,
yeah. Like I said, Cora Jade, she's almost
the Damage Control. I could see breaking up. Like I could see the tag team staying together and Bailey going to the other show. We haven't even talked about the women getting drafted.
I don't know. I think I like what they're doing with Io.
Me too.
If they break up, huh?
And I said me too. But I think her and Dakota stay together is what I was saying.
Really?
Not necessarily as a tag team, but as like friendly to each other.
Okay.
You know, you've had my back, I've had your back. Let's just keep that going, kind of thing.
So do we break up Ronda and Shayna? Do we
I
split
don't
them?
think so. I think Ronda gets what Ronda wants, which means Shayna stays with her.
Okay.
Because that's a money feud when they break up.
I think Becky stays. Becky goes wherever Seth goes. So if you think Seth's going to SmackDown, I see Becky going to SmackDown.
Yeah, the only issue I have with that is that I do think Bianca and Montez go to SmackDown.
Bianca's still the champ. So you think that, they just do the swap thing like they did before?
The belt swap, yeah. Although Rhea is the Rhea's the SmackDown Women's Champion. So if you keep Judgment Day on Raw, so that
they're not going to have Judgment Day and Bloodline.
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
The rumor is that at some point they want them to feud. So if you're going to have them feud because you like faction feuds, then Bianca and Rhea switching makes sense.
Then somebody's going to have to go face. A faction's going to have to go face.
Well, I mean, I'm just so confused by it. So I really don't know what to say in some of this stuff. But let's talk a little bit about NXT because we talked about Raw.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead. I was just going to start by saying I thought it was really odd that they did the the NXT title match in the middle of the show, and then they
wanted to close with that women's match.
Oh, and you want to talk about that match first, or you want to talk about that match last?
That's what I was getting ready to say.
Indy's hurt. That was not.
Did you see it? Did you see the way she fucking landed?
The time they showed it, I was like, "Oh God!" Like
she landed, her legs behind her, and her damn foot was pointing. I'm like, that's not supposed to bend that way.
I don't know how she was able to put any kind of pressure on that ankle.
And I was reading, she was legit hurt. They took her to the back, and they were calling an audible. If Indy had not come back, Tiffany, they were going to tap Tiffany to win the belt.
I would have believed it.
And when she was out, I thought that was. I'm like, well, Tiffany's winning. You know what I'm saying? That was my thought.
I don't know why they're shitting on Roxy like they are, though.
Unless they're going to call her up, or they're going to make her underdog story where she just has to come back.
I mean, she's always been an underdog story, but I kind of see Cora Jade getting called up. Although
that's what I keep saying. I think she's missing something. As good as she is, she's missing something.
Yeah, I think this new gimmick that they're trying to throw at it, where she's saying she's the what was she saying she is of the division? She's like she's like the apex of the division or so. I can't remember what word they used, but they said that she was like she was saying I am like the cream of the crop here. And like, I mean, they all say that, but she, you know, they're like they were really trying to drive that in, that this is who she is, you know? And I mean, she's super cute. So, I mean, like she's got everything she needs to be good at it. But when we talk about the main event and we talk about Indy, I don't know how she was putting pressure on that ankle at all. And if you notice, but I mean, she came out and she was having to run the ropes. And it was sad. Like,
you could tell she was hurt, and and you could tell that Roxy they both had to slow down enough when Tiffany went on that top rope, and Indy barely made it to push her off. You know, and Tiffany just flipped, and then when she pulled Tiffany out and got in the ring to run the rope to hit her with that forearm in the back of the head. It looked rough.
Which is so sad. The only thing I'm hoping here is that they call it a high ankle sprain and it heals within the next month. You know, you put her on a crutch, you have her come out, you have her do her promos, you have somebody beat her down, but for God's sakes, I hope they don't strip her of the belt. I hope that
Okay.
it's not that long term of an injury. And the reason why is because they just stripped Roxy of the belt, and they just really stripped Mandy of the belt. So after all this time getting that belt to be as prestigious as it is, and even Roxanne Perez's first defense against both other what was their tag team?
Toxic
PG
attraction.
and Casey.
Toxic
Toxic
attraction.
attraction. Even the triple threat there that we were at live, like they kept that prestige level up, and now all of a sudden, Indy got that big push in the ladder match at WrestleMania weekend, and now all of a sudden it seems cursed.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they took it off of Roxanne. We thought that there was a legit injury with Roxanne. Then it turns out that they're, like they just made it part of the storyline. But I mean, like if Indy's hurt, I say they do a championship tournament, and one of the called downs is the winner. And that's why you could do like a Natalia or something, where all of a sudden you hear that and she gets to come out for like an elimination chamber match in NXT or something, and suddenly before you know it, you're like, oh shit, she's far and away better than everybody else in this match. You know what I mean?
I'd almost like to see them call Gargano's wife down and let her have it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they haven't done shit with Candice since she got to the main roster. They've got her kind of in a little feud with Nikki, but obviously the main roster doesn't push women, so we got to see it once, and then it was like, why is Nikki out there? And that was it. And then that match was over like 8 seconds later.
So that would be, I'd be a good move, bring Candice down.
I could see Johnny going down too.
Yeah. Because what they could do if Candice came down, let's say Candice won, and he gets healed up, and they can feud her. You always thought you were better than me in a way. Blah 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 blah.
Well, she was better than her in the way.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. They have that history. They could probably do something with and play off of it, which would make sense storyline wise if they decided to do that.
So now back to the Carmelo thing. He beat Waller, so I think Waller gets called up.
I think Braun killed him. Braun fucked him up. He put him through that fucking wall. I was like, God.
What do you think of them going, hey, Braun Breaker when he was a babyface were all these neon colors and everything, kind of to go with the whole NXT 2.0, and now he's wearing a black singlet. Like, stark black, nothing else, black singlet.
I still want him to wear an all-white singlet, dye his hair, and grow a goatee.
Oh, God. It's probably coming when he gets called up to the main roster if he keeps that heel persona. I think that the heel persona is going to do him a lot of good.
Yeah. I think he's a better, and the more I watch him, and at first I was like, this is bullshit, but I think he's more comfortable as a heel. He is falling right in line with his uncle, Scott.
Dude, everybody's more comfortable as a heel for the most part. I don't think Johnny Gargano is, and I don't think Roxanne Perez would be.
Braun is better as a heel. Let me say that then.
100%.
He'll be better as a heel.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I'm
just
100%.
like, and there's those talents that are better as Charlotte Flair. I don't like her as a babyface. I hate her as a heel because she's a bitch, but she's better as a heel, and that's why, because I can't stand her. She's doing her job. She's better as a heel.
The only time she's not a heel is when she's facing somebody that's a better heel than her. And saying that about Charlotte Flair is tough because there aren't many women in the industry that are bigger heels than her, but I can name two. Rhea Ripley. Right now, I don't know if she will. Long term, I don't know. Like, I think people want mommy to be a baby face.
Yeah, I think that's coming. I think
I think
baby face, it kind of wore off.
Tired of Dom.
Huh?
I think when the Judgment Day finally gets tired of Dom, I think that's when Rhea goes babyface.
Yeah, because she did the Rhea Ripley babyface. It was she hit this mommy thing, just like Becky. Becky was, heel, and then she fucking did the man shit.
Well, she got with her. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, when she got punched in the fucking nose. Yeah, when she got, but her nose busted. But Becky is the modern day female Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Well,
and that man character.
Well, yes and no. Obviously, she's the first Becky Lynch man, the man character. But they kept, like, Vince McMahon was set on making her a heel.
Yeah.
And nobody wanted to go with it.
Nobody wanted to boo her, just like they don't want to boo Stone Cold.
But Stone Cold naturally turned, just like The Rock did. With Becky, we wanted her as a babyface, and we were told no. Roman Reigns, we wanted him as a heel. We were told no for 8 years.
John Cena, he never turned, man.
Well, I mean, when he went babyface the first time, he stayed babyface the rest of his career.
That's what I'm saying. Remember, that's why people start calling for the heel change. He won't do it.
He doesn't need to. Well, now he doesn't need to. Now he's legend status.
Yeah.
Now he comes down and he puts somebody over every match, and you're like, "Oh, John Cena came back. Is he ever gonna get a win again?" The way that they're playing him up, the way that Austin Theory's going is, as soon as he turns babyface, he should be babyface for a long time.
Grayson Waller, stay heel.
Sure. Joe Gacy, same thing. I think the Tony D'Angelo going babyface is a little bit of an odd move. I think he makes a better heel.
What about your boy LA?
LA Knight can be either. The catchphrases and everything else make people want to cheer him.
So he's on Rock level.
He'll never be Rock level. They'll never let him.
In the vein of the Rock, that's what I should say. His catchphrase is he could be heel or baby.
Yeah, and we saw that because obviously when it became NXT 2.0 versus NXT Originals, they put him on the NXT Originals team, and he was suddenly babyface. Oh, there's another call up that should happen. Cameron Grimes.
Yeah, where the hell's he been?
I think they've just been holding him off TV for the draft. He might have had some nagging injuries. They told him to heal up or whatever. So, not on the show, but and we'll talk about him a little bit more, but a little surprising to see someone not on NXT and suddenly show up on AEW this week.
Well, we're not there yet, are we? Are we there?
No. Well, we can be if you want to.
I mean, are you doing NXT?
Got any more that you want to talk about on NXT? Well, Michael, that is the rumor, is that LA Knight will win Money in the Bank. I still want the dark horse candidate there to be Chad Gable. I think Chad deserves King of the Ring or Money in the Bank.
They're not gonna let Gable cash that thing in, and it's gonna be like when Otis had it. You know what I mean? Nobody expected him to cash in and win.
So
wanted him to.
Well, it depends on which show he's on. If he goes up against the Seth Rollins, I could see him winning a match. If he goes up against Roman, he's getting destroyed. So I mean, there's that, but at the same time, like I'd like to see Chad Gable have a babyface run, like a real one, But that's why I actually think if they do a King of the Ring tournament, like they originally were saying, now that's Night of Champions. But if they do a King of the Ring, I think Gable wins that because I think they make it an actual wrestling tournament.
Okay. All right, AEW.
Okay. AEW Dynamite. So, out of nowhere, Adam Cole's having his little confrontation with Chris Jericho, and who comes down?
Well, no, you gotta start it over. You gotta start from scratch. You're trying to jump to the end. You're coming too quick. You're premature.
I mean, it's a natural transition because the last time we saw him, he was on NXT.
Yeah, but calm down. Slow your roll.
All right.
Premature ejaculation. Calm down. So,
wow.
It starts off with Adam is pissed, and he has every right to be pissed. He comes out the ring. He calls out Jericho.
Right.
Calls him all kinds of things. He said, "This is personal. It's not my business anymore. So you come out here, gonna whip your ass." Jericho comes up on the big screen, goes, "I'm not coming out there. You don't deserve me coming down there," and just building that up. So that is going to be a match. He goes, "I'm not coming down there, but my boys are. So boys, get him." Interesting that the first two to come out and save him were Orange and Bandito.
Right.
Because we know that Orange Cassidy and Adam Cole don't like each other. So why would he come out?
Because they hate the Jericho Appreciation Society even more.
Okay. So they get their asses beat down. Did somebody else come out before the surprise dude?
What's that?
Did somebody else come out before what's his face came down?
No, I think you're talking about when Takashita was getting talked to by Bryan Danielson.
Now, I thought it would make more sense. And I didn't know that Roddy was coming out. I hadn't even heard.
Nobody did.
I thought it was going to be O'Reilly.
So did I, because I figured O'Reilly coming down this week and then them saying, let's have a 5-on-5 match or whatever, and then them introducing Roddy Strong there would have been even bigger. But I'll say this, in terms of surprises, this is the biggest one I can see, because almost every other one we've heard about, seen something about, whatever. So we all started thinking, okay, well, Adam Cole's probably showing up at this, or CM Punk showing up at this. So they're bigger names, don't get me wrong. But we kind of already had inclination that they're coming. And this is really, like, even Jay White, when Jay White showed up, it was like, well, Jay White had already been on AEW television when he was part of New Japan, so it wasn't as big of a surprise that he'd show up. But when Roddy showed up, I thought he was still under NXT contract.
Here's another question that I have for you. So Britt, so we know that Britt and Adam are a couple, and Britt is with the women's champion. That's her stable. But what are we doing with Marina? What if Marina came into that too? Because we know that's Roddy's wife.
Well, I mean, and that works perfectly, because obviously you've got,
they're not doing shit with Marina.
Although the difference, though, is that the way that they brought Marina in, she was definitely heel.
Yeah, but they hadn't used her in a while, so she could do something where
she could make a save. Sure.
Yeah. Well, she'll make a save where I guess so. Anna JAS and the Outcast are beaten down on her husband. You know what I'm saying? And Britt, Britt's trying to save, and then Marina. I'm just thinking, because they're not doing this shit with Marina, it makes sense to somehow put her in there since her husband is here now.
It does, and it would also allow Jamie Hayter to kind of split a little bit from Britt, because but the other side of that is, why isn't Sammy Guevara part of the JAS right now?
He is.
But is he?
He is.
I mean, suddenly he's best friends with MJF.
I think he was setting him up.
Well, one of them is setting up the other one without a doubt. The question is which one's really going to pop the other one in the face, right? Because it's going to happen. They're going to try to win this tag team match. Sammy's probably going to eat the pin, and MJF's going to flip out on him because, well, now he's going to have to face all four or all three of the guys, right?
Yeah, it's going to be a 4-way.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Like, and they won't do it because they need to keep MJF strong. But it'd be even better if MJF was the one that ate the pin. It's just, it won't be MJF because he needs a reason to dislike Sammy right now. So Sammy's got to eat that pin.
As long as MJF eats the pin at the main event.
That's not happening. It's too early. He might lose the title in November, but I don't see him losing it before their last.
How long? There's nothing's ever too early in wrestling. I mean, he can always beat chasing it again. Because how long that and I know what you're going to say when I say this, but how long did Hobbs hold that title before Wardlow beat him?
Well,
Which point being is it doesn't matter how long you title. If you know what I'm saying.
You know as well as I do that Tony Khan is booking that title like the WCW TV title, where it was
It
like,
makes more sense for Cokehead Khan to further a storyline. Yes, MJF can lose a title and he can chase it.
I just don't see it happening. Like I see him keeping that crybaby happy
until Omega decides he wants it back.
Well, yeah, then I mean, like, roll over and take the, eat the pin. And it's gonna be it is gonna be interesting to see who finally does eat, like, make MJF eat the pin, because I think that he feels like he has enough clout to where he gets to pick who gets to take it from him, and I think
he is not part of the elite.
I think that's going to be the situation that really pushes the war in 2024.
I mean, fuck him, let him go.
I mean, he is probably the second biggest ratings draw in AEW behind Punk, and Punk's only the ratings draw when you actually give him a live mic.
Until Omega or the Young Bucks decide they want to step back up.
Hey, I'm with you on that statement. You know I am not a fan of the elite.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I mean, as long, again, in 2024, you yes, MJF might be the biggest rater, but if Omega says, fuck him, I want that belt back, what's Tony gonna do?
I mean, Tony owns the company. He can say no. And see, it even ding.
What's Tony gonna do?
You know what Tony's gonna do, and this is the thing that a lot of people kind of nag on him about, but he's gonna do it. He's gonna go, well, who draws better ratings in the main event? That's what he's gonna do. But I've said this, that you end up seeing guys like FTR get held out for a while, and you have underclassmen sit there, win the tag team titles. So when FTR finally wins the belts, yeah, it was a great moment on TV. Yeah, it happened in the main event, but I bet if you look at the ratings, it was less than 1 million viewers. And I don't know for a fact, but I would assume it was. So, what else did we see? We saw.
Let's see.
We saw Orange beat Bandito and then give him the glass right in the first bout of the night.
Yeah.
And I like the camaraderie between them at the end.
We saw Hobbs jack up.
I wanted to talk about the Orange Cassidy interview after the match.
Yes. You want to interview us
Renee,
after we won that match?
You're doing interviews out here? And she's like, yeah, I was just interviewing. He's like, oh. And he just walks off. And then Bandito looks at him and goes, oh. And then he walks off. That was gold. That was gold. And of course, Renee's just like, back to you guys. We got Wardlow's Wardlow's next opponent.
We don't know that. Is it going to be? I'm confused. We're thinking it's going to be Luchasaurus, but what if Christian Cage steps up and goes?
Yeah, it's just unfortunately it doesn't go. Go! If you close your eyes, you look and to reveal.
MJF was killing me watching that match eating the pickles, though. Talking about how good those damn pickles were.
I mean, he's got to talk about something, right? He didn't want to talk about the match.
So what'd you think of that? What'd you think of that Guevara before he got himself involved? Darby match.
It are those other three ready to main event a major pay-per-view? Or do you need all four of them in the match to make it a pay-per-view match?
I think Guevara. I really think Guevara is ready. Darby.
Every time we turn around, Stevie Wonder, you were just you were D'Lo Browning us. but every time Sammy Guevara gets himself moved up a position in the company, he does something to fuck it up. How many people has he got into backstage fights with?
I think he's learning his lesson.
Well,
I mean, talent-wise, Guevara's ready for a main event. Maturity-wise,
but let me ask: Sammy Guevara, would you ever see him in a main event at like a Royal Rumble or a SummerSlam or something like that as who he is right now? And I'm saying in the here and now, could he main event a WWE major pay-per-view event?
Nah, he's still got a way to go.
Right.
He's got potential. He's still got a way to go.
He could do NXT Spring Breakout. He could do NXT Vengeance Day like we went to. He could do, but when you're talking about being the number 2 wrestling promotion in the world, your main event, if you want to ever try to get to that next level, you have got to put.
Yeah, but they don't have the talent. I don't want to say they don't have the talent that WWE does because that sounds bad.
It's true.
But
we've had discussion. They do have the talent.
Out of the talent pool they have right now, Sammy, MJF. I want to say Jungle Boy, but he's missing something too.
Well, Sammy's missing something. He's okay on the mic. He's never done anything on the microphone that has blown me away.
When they did the 4-way, that they did that thing on MJF's birthday, I thought he did pretty decent.
Well, I think they all had lines written for them, probably by MJF.
No, I mean, you want to talk about lines written.
They
have lines written in WWE too.
So this is what I'll tell you. All 4 of them in a main event, I do think could main event a Money in the Bank or Night of Champions or Elimination Chamber with 2 other guys in there. I think that, and here's why I think it's so important that I say this, because I don't think a lot of people talk about this. The wrestling from all 4 of those guys is going to be off the charts, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But if you did MJF versus Sting as the main event of that pay-per-view, it's going to do more buys than all 3 of those other guys combined.
Sting can't go like he used to, though.
I'm just saying, you make it a street fight, and then you don't have to go as well in the match, right? That's why Stone Cold, 19 years outside of the ring, was able to have a main event at WrestleMania still.
Yeah, but Stone Cold is younger, and I think he's in better shape than Sting too.
And he's probably 7 years younger.
That's why I said younger and in better shape.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't hear younger. But okay. But there are other guys. So MJF's first title defense, Bryan Danielson. I think they could have gotten 2 to 3 pay-per-view matches out of that if they had done a standard match, done a gimmick match, and then done the hour-long Iron Man match. And you would have gotten those buy rates and everything that I'm talking about, because Bryan Danielson is a guy that people from WWE will come over and watch. Chris Jericho, John Moxley, Adam Cole. Like Adam Cole versus MJF would be phenomenal. But Jericho wants that Adam Cole feud, so guess what? Chris Jericho gets that Adam Cole feud, right? And the number one reason why I say this is because it's about their buy rate in AEW. The more buys, the more money everybody makes. In WWE, it's not really about buy rates right now. It could be a year from now when Endeavor is completely in control of the company. But right now,
but I think to compare WWE and AEW isn't fair because WWE's been in business 50
no, and you're right.
Years,
but what I'm really saying is about like the wrestling that goes on in it. Like, is AEW going to top their best pay-per-view numbers with this main event? And I don't think the answer is yes. And I think this all goes back to something that you said earlier, which was when Kenny Omega wants the title back, Kenny Omega is going to get a title shot at a major pay-per-view, right? And do we think MJF versus Kenny Omega will get a better buy rate than Sammy Guevara, Jungle Boy, or Darby? And then will he get a better buy rate when it's Jungle Boy, Darby, and Sammy, right?
I think the better buy rate would be MJF and Omega.
And that's, I love that Tony's trying to push the pillars at this point. I mean, you got a 3-year, almost 4-year-old company. It's time that these kids got their due, right? They're still all under 30 years old. They're still all sitting there like killing it until Darby Allin dies in the ring, or more likely outside the ring on one of the guardrails or something, because he might not die in the ring, but he's going to die around one. That's for shit sure. But And like I said, I don't think anybody's really ever talked about this element of it, is that, like maybe Tony is giving the fans what they want by giving them this match. But I do think that there's an underlying factor that this match isn't going to help grow the company as much as they want it to. And I think that's something that everybody gets mad at the WWE for using a part-timer or whatever to do that. But you have to admit that the wrestlers don't mind when The Rock shows up and actually wrestles a match at the show because they get paid more money.
Yeah, but it's a difference in when there is a one-off like The Rock,
sure,
or you have the part-timers like a Lesnar or Roman Reigns. It's a difference.
All right, so I got one for you. Apparently, this past weekend at a wrestling show, Wardlow looked at Goldberg, pointed at him and said, damn sure I'm not next.
Yep.
And Goldberg apparently took offense to it. And maybe Wardlow went into business for himself. Maybe Goldberg wasn't having the best day, hadn't had his coffee yet, whatever the case might be. Maybe he didn't get to the gym early in the morning like he likes to do. But could we now see Goldberg in AEW for a one-off match against Wardlow? And would it supersede the main event of the World Championship?
But yeah, because it's fucking Goldberg.
Well, AEW so far has had at every show either the women's match or the men's match headline. So think about that. Like they've always held firm of championship match against that. Now, we could see Wardlow beat MJF for the world title at some point and then see them bring Goldberg in for a one-off. Powerbomb versus the Spear. And then you don't even have to question that. In fact, I don't even think that the women's the women's title match is actually headline one of the pay-per-views. I think it's always been the men. There's been the lights out match that I think did once, but that's because you turned the lights out on the match, right? So, and then the women's lights out match was on a Dynamite. It wasn't even on.
Speaking of a women's match, before I forget, and it's almost 10. Jay and Taya, what'd you think?
I really don't remember what happened in the match.
Oh, it was a good match because they're both powerhouses. They both won the match. Ty kept going a couple of times for Road to Valhalla, and Aubrey kept saying, "No, you can't do that. You can't do that." So she would put her down. When Jade won with she reversed the roll up. So neither one of them, because she tried a couple of times to use Jaded and Taya. Obviously, they made a point on the announce team. That's her move, so of course she's going to know how to counter it. So she countered it. Jade won with a reverse roll up. She got out the match. Taya lost her fucking mind. Jade ran because Taya lost her fucking mind. It got to the point where she was looking around. All the refs came in the ring. She's pushing refs off.
So they kept her strong.
Aubrey had her back to her. She picked Aubrey up and was about to put that bitch in the Road to Valhalla, and all the refs came and pulled her down, and Aubrey fell to the floor and rolled her ass up out the ring.
I mean, Aubrey did actually start as a trainee for wrestling, so I mean, she'll know how to take the bump. But it's good.
The way they did it, it almost looked like it, and we know it's not. But the way they did it was perfect because it looked like a shoot. Because she looked pissed, and she looked like she's about ready to kill everybody in that ring. So I'm wondering
what keeps her strong.
They're going to keep her strong and maybe now push her as a heel.
Yeah,
and maybe if they'll have another match for that TBS title.
Definitely seems like that. So apparently, just a little side note, Zor got a little bit more mention on another YouTube show earlier tonight. So that's my comic Zor.
Oh, I was still talking about. Okay,
I know.
You threw me off for a second. I was like, Zor, who's that?
No, I just got a message about it. So
cool.
I really don't have anything else.
Me neither.
Trying to think if you watch the show The Mayans, they just showed the first trailer for the final season. Looks fucking phenomenal. Superman and Lois, I think, has been really good.
Yes.
Last night's episode of The Flash was the final appearance of the Green Arrow. So if you haven't watched it yet, so I'm not going to tell you what it was like. I haven't watched like any of the rest of the season so far, but
so you just watched that one?
Yeah, I just wanted to see Stephen Amell. Heels supposed to be coming back in July, rumored.
Okay.
So I'm kind of excited about that. And Picard season 3 finally ended, and oh my god, dude. I've watched the series finale 3 times. Yeah, I watched the entire season 3 times, but it's phenomenal.
Cool.
Other than that, we got SmackDown, we got the draft tomorrow night, and it's going to be interesting. I have a feeling you and I are probably going to be like, if you're not playing anywhere tomorrow, you are though, right?
No, we got that double date.
Oh, okay.
My friend's coming in from out of town, but I'll probably watch it when I get home.
All right. Well, I will try not to spoil the draft for you unless you want me to. But you're going to get the Bleacher Report updates.
I'm gonna cut the thing off the notifications. I don't want to know.
And I think that's about it, man. Like, yeah, I think that's it. I don't think there's anything else really going on. Mercedes Moné apparently signed another New Japan contract.
Oh,
yes.
Where it is. Naomi's going to be an Impact.
Too.
Impact.
Yeah, it's supposed to happen tonight, actually.
Well, I thought it was Friday tapings.
I thought there was Thursday tapings for a Friday showing. Or I thought their pay-per-views were on Fridays. I thought their actual show was Thursday night still.
The show is Thursdays. I don't know. Maybe they're pre-taping shows.
Maybe they do one live and they do like 3 other tapings on it or something.
No, they do them live, but sometimes if they got something going on, they'll do a tape.
Gotcha. All right. You think we see Bobby Fish come back into AEW now that we got Roddy Strong?
That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that they do a kind of a undisputed reunion.
Well, he sounded like he was a little upset with the way he left. Because he
Why
signed
did
that
he leave?
contract when everybody else got 5-year deals and they did not re-sign him. And he was like, I want to go do MMA fights. And they were like, well, if you're wrestling for us, you really don't get to do that.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So, which is weird because I thought Jake Hager was like an undefeated MMA fighter. And yet, well, he hasn't had an MMA fight in years either. So
Because he likes that hat.
he does like that hat. I don't like that hat. It's like suddenly he's like Hodor.
Hodor.
Yeah, from Game of Thrones. The guy that could only say the word Hodor. You know,
I
or he's
never
like, I am
watched
Groot.
that.
Jake Hager's the Groot of the JAS. But anyway, like I said, I really don't have anything else. So why don't you go ahead and tell everybody how they can find you on the interwebs?
You can find me on the Twitter at HoodieFan91. You can find me on Snapchat, SCTino. You can find us on the Twitter, Potsy and Tino, Facebook with the Potsy and Tino Show. As always, we want to say thank you to Adam's House Cats for the wrestling song. You can get it on iTunes for 99 cents. 99. Catch us here each and every week. Please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, like a show, and buy our shit. Rob?
Yep. And then for me, TikTok, Rob Potsy Podcheck, YouTube, Rob Podcheck here. Twitch, Rob Potsy Podcheck, Instagram, Rob Podcheck, and Rob Potsy Podcheck. And on Twitter, you can find me at Podcheck. Folks, trying to get those likes on the show, trying to get the subscription numbers up. So if you guys can help us out with that, if you're not already subscribed, I believe that most people that watch already are, and we appreciate it. If you're not already following us on all those socials, we would love it if you do. You probably get a follow back from us on both or all of them. So with that said, Tino, let me pull up the music because this phone turned off, and we, folks, are out of here. Keep it up in your face, The Undertaker.
Well, it's my D-Lo.